Hey everyone, Kevin P. McAuliffe here, and I am back again with another Boris TV tutorial. And one thing that I'm asked to do on a regular basis is to animate some kind of an effect to music. And it's always a big pain because I have to get out of my symphony editing application, get into a compositing application to do the work, or I can spend hours inside of my NLE tinkering with keyframes, just trying to get things quite right. And you know what? It never quite works out. Well, those days of frustrating keyframing are over. With the power of Boris Continuum Complete 8 and its built-in Beat Reactor technology for AVX, creating cool animations that animate to the beat are easier to create than ever before. And the best part is, you don't need to leave the comfort of your Avid editing application to do it. Okay, short introduction here. Let's just get into Symphony and let's get started. Okay, so let's Alt-Tab into Avid's Symphony. Now, obviously, the first thing we're going to need is some footage to work with here. And as you can see, I have a sequence of shots here. Now, how most people like to get in and apply film glow with Beat Reactors, they're going to apply it to each shot individually. But in this case, what we want to do is we want to actually have the Beat Reactor go across all of these clips. And the clip is really irrelevant. It's really the beat that we want to keep. And like I said, what most people think they're going to do is be applying the effect to each one of these clips. And by doing that, it's not going to give you the end result that you want. I'm going to show you what I mean by that in just a second. What we're going to need, first of all, is a clip for reference. So why don't we just use the first shot because it's first. So what I'm going to do is just duplicate this sequence here. And we're going to call it reference. And what I'm going to do with this reference shot here is I'm just going to take out the last two clips. We'll just remove them. I'm just going to extend this down as far as it goes, and that's probably good enough. That's good. We got some beats in there. And what I'm going to do is hit Control and 8 on Windows, Command and 8 on the Mac. And as you can see, once the effects palette opens, I'm already actually at Film Style and Film Glow. Obviously, if you need to navigate to Film Glow, it is, like I just said, inside of Film Style, and you'll find it right here, Film Glow. What I'm going to do is take the effect, drag it, and drop it onto the shot. And one thing that I love about BCC8's Film Glow, and it really makes it unique as far as glow effects go, not specifically film glows, but glow effects in general, is you'll see that even the darks in the shot glow, which in most cases when you apply a glow effect, it really only sort of blows out the brightest parts of the shot. This is what I love about this effect. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get in and we're going to manipulate this glow to sort of get it the way we want it, what I'll consider to be its maximum value, because its minimum value, it's not going to be there at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step into effects mode by pressing Shift and Y. Now, if you don't have effects mode mapped on your keyboard, you can find it right here inside the composer window at the bottom or at the top of your timeline. What we're going to do now is we're actually only going to adjust one parameter. We're going to adjust glow threshold. What we're going to do, actually, you know what, we're going to adjust two parameters. Glow threshold is the main one that we're going to adjust here. So what I'm going to do is adjust glow threshold all the way to about there. I think that's looking pretty good. And the other parameter that I said that we're going to adjust is actually going to be glow intensity. I'm just going to bring glow intensity up a little bit. And that's kind of about what I'm looking for at its maximum value. That's looking pretty good and pretty blown out. Now, one thing I should also point out is I obviously jumped in, just started, getting in, adjusting parameters. One thing that's, not unique to Film Glow, but it's very unique across, the Boris Continuum Complete family of effects, is that really there's tons and tons of presets with all of these different effects, which is pretty unique. When you go and take a look at other effects packages in comparison, we have a lot of presets, and you can see Film Glow is no exception. We have a whole bunch of presets to get us started using Film Glow. But like I said, here I just adjusted the glow threshold and I adjusted the glow intensity to give us a pretty good looking glow. So I'm now ready to get in and start animating this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag down to the bottom of the screen here. And one other thing I want to point out is that one thing I also love about Boris Continuum Complete effects is it's never really just the effect you're getting. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I've applied Film Glow. So you'd think, well, Film Glow, you get just Film Glow. You don't get just Film Glow. Inside of Film Glow, you also get built-in motion tracker, built-in pixel chooser, built-in Beat Reactor, built-in geometrics, built-in drop shadow. All of these effects that you would think would be separate effects are included inside of many effects across Boris Continuum Complete 8, not unique to just Film Glow. In this case, what we want to do is we want to enable, of course, Beat Reactor. Now, as soon as I enable Beat Reactor, you're going to see that Beat Reactor immediately says, well, hold on a second, there's no media that's been selected. Now, one thing that's important to point out about Beat Reactor is that it cannot look at media that's in your timeline. It has to look at an external media file. So what I did when I imported this WAV file was that I turned around and I exported an AIFF version of the same file. That's also important to keep in mind, is that Beat Reactor only looks for AIFF files when it's looking for the external file. So what I'm going to do is just say, okay, well, let's find this external file, and you'll see there's the file right there, and it is an AIFF/AIFF file. I'm simply going to say open, and as soon as I do, you'll see that my screen has now come alive with this very cool graph and my boxer with his glow. Now, one thing I should also point out, I'm just going to come right back up here to my glow threshold. You'll see, I think I can probably even set this to be sort of an even number of about 20. That's not looking too bad right there. So 20 is going to be the maximum value, but let's see what the minimum value is going to be. And the minimum value is going to be where it's gone completely. Probably, maybe we'll just set it at about 50. So what we've got here is we've got a value of 20 for the max and a value of 50 for the minimum. Very cool. Now, those two numbers are going to come into play in just a second. But like I said, we've got the graph now that's on the screen, and what we need to figure out is we need to figure out where that bass kick is, that bass drum kick. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to render the file out here just so that I can see the graph playing in real time. And now this is an HD clip rendering out pretty quick. One thing I actually love about this graph is I've actually even used it as a compositing element because I find it just to be such a cool effect. What I'm going to do is hit play, and you'll see the bass drum is actually kicking on the left here, and the claps are happening over here on the right. So what we're going to want to do is I'm just going to come right back to the beginning. I'm actually going to lasso these two parts of the spectrum here. So what I'm going to do is step back into effects mode, shift and Y. And the way to get the range selector up is we're going to navigate right back down to Beat Reactor. We're just going to tell Beat Reactor that what we want to adjust inside of the animation is the threshold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the apply parameter A to be glow threshold. Now, as soon as I do, everything disappears. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how we're going to get that back in just a second. So let's select the range. Like I said, it's going to be pretty much these two here. And let's make sure I actually grab it here. There we go. And I'm going to put it right about there, I think. Maybe a little bit farther over. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So we've selected our range, but like I said, our glow has disappeared. Well, let's get in and actually set the minimum and maximum values. If I scroll back down here, you'll see that inside of option A, I have the output minimum, the output maximum value. Now, like I said, the output minimum is going to be 50. The output maximum is going to be 20. Now, the only problem is that once I set that, it doesn't give us the look that we had before. So what most people immediately think they need to do is they think they need to start adjusting the output max value. Well, they don't need to do that at all. What I'm going to do is just undo what I just did, because I'm actually impacting what I'm seeing up here because I have the glow threshold set up here to be 20. What I'm going to do is just turn that off and put it at 0, and you'll see that the effect is right back the way we had it before. Now, one last thing that I want to talk about is that the way that the effect is going to work right now is that that beat is going to hit, and almost instantly the glow is going to disappear. It's going to sort of, turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off. And that's really not what we want. What we want is for it to hit and then sort of dissolve out or fade out. And what that's actually called inside the effect is the fall off. And the fall off is located, appropriately enough, right below your output minimum and maximum, right below apply strength, right here, fall off. Right now it's set to unused. I'm going to set that to be linear, and I'm going to leave the fall off time to be ½ a second. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to render this out with the graph on it for right now, just so that we can see what happens when this renders out and plays back. We can actually see that drum kick. I always like having a visual representation of audio. I just find it so much easier to figure out what is going on here. So let's do this. Let's step out of effects mode. We'll come back to the beginning here. Let's hit play. And you see the Beat Reactor is only punching that glow in on that bass kick right over here. That's doing exactly what we want it to do. Okay, now the last thing I need to do, because this effect is pretty much set up, is I'm going to step back into effects mode, and I'm just going to turn the graph off because I don't need it anymore. So we're going to come right back down to Beat Reactor, and the show graph option is right here. So it says show graph. Yes, I'm just going to say no. There goes the graph, and what I'm going to do with this effect is I'm going to take it and I'm going to drag it from Film Glow right up here at the top into the bin. Now, I know you're probably thinking, well, why did you just do that? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the final sequence. Now, right now, the way that these clips are lined up, we got 3 clips back to back. And what we want to have happen is we want to have the Beat Reactor animate to that music. But the big issue is that what's going to happen is that you saw, well, what I just did with the reference sequence was I applied it to the first clip, which was the only clip, and we started to do our work. Why? Well, because guess what? This audio clip lined up with the start of this clip. So what most people think is they're going to apply film glow here and try to animate it. The problem is that when you select that external reference file, it's almost like it's taking this audio and lining it up to start right here at the start of this clip, which is not what we want. We want the audio that's in the range of this clip to impact this clip. So you'll see what happens is that if people get in and use individual effects on each one of these clips, and then what we're going to do here is just give this a quick render here. We'll come up to clip, we'll say render in out. We'll just say go. Like I said, what's going to happen is that because the effect has been applied to all three clips, it's actually going to be looking at the start of that audio track for each one of them, and it's not going to give us the end result that we're looking for. So we'll just give this another few seconds here to finish rendering. Pretty impressive considering, we really didn't take that much time to do a very cool film glow animation to the beat. So let's take this, play this. It'll start out fine, but then take a look what happens. Not beating at all in time. So what do we do to get around this problem? Well, what we're going to do first of all is just remove all these effects. The next thing we need to do is we need to make 3 clips into 1 clip. Now what most people think immediately is, okay, well let's do a video mixdown, but I don't want to do a destructive process. Now what do I mean by that? Well, taking these 3 clips and doing a video mixdown, if I had any dissolves or anything like that in the clips, by making a new clip and dropping it in over top of these clips, I've basically blown away any reference I had to these clips. When I don't need to do that, I don't need to do that destructive process. I can do this in a non-destructive way. What I'm going to do is with an in and out point set at the start and at the end of this clip, I'm going to hit F9 on the keyboard, which is my shortcut to collapse these clips down into essentially one clip. Media Composer and Symphony will see this as one clip. What we're going to do now is we're going to take this BCC Film Glow. I'm going to hold Alt on Windows, Option on the Mac. I'm going to drag it right over here and drop it on top of that clip. You'll see there's the film glow appear right away. What we're going to do now is just give this a quick render here. And again, 20 seconds to have this film glow kick to the beat of that bass, I'd say is pretty darn good considering we haven't had to leave the comfort of our nonlinear editing application to do something that most people think can only be done in a compositing application. So we're almost done. What we're going to do is once it's done, I'm simply going to hit play. And you can see there's our bass kick. And you can see it goes exactly to the beat through all 3 shots. I really love the way this shot looks. That looks fantastic. So you can see not only is Film Glow a fantastic effect, but Film Glow combined with Beat Reactor is going to save you so much time when you want to get in and animate parameters to the beat. And you can see with the little trick that I just showed you at the end, taking that effect and applying it to a sequence of clips to get that beat to carry through all of them is very quick and very simple by simply dragging it out, pre-composing, and then dropping that clip back on top of it. And you'll really be up and animating and wowing that client sitting beside you in no time flat. So if you have any questions, you have any comments, or you have any tutorial requests, you can send them to support@borisfx.com. This has been Kevin P. McAuliffe. Thanks a lot for watching.